The Senior Bowl is done and in the books. What did we learn? What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be breaking down the Senior Bowl and what we learned from the Senior Bowl and how it might impact the Jets' draft strategy and why is the Senior Bowl so important. Well, if you listen to the propaganda that's being spewed by the Senior Bowl, the draft starts in mobile. And the reason that they can say that is because a big part of that statement is true. Every year, it seems like the Senior Bowl has anywhere from 70 to 90 guys being drafted who went to the Senior Bowl who end up on NFL rosters, which is insane when you think about the number of players that are getting drafted each year and just the sheer amount of those guys being Senior Bowl guys is incredible and shows how much value the NFL puts on the Senior Bowl. But beyond that, Joe Douglas has shown us time and time again how much he values the Senior Bowl. Every year that he has been a general manager of the New York Jets in charge of the draft, he has taken at least one Senior Bowl member. In 2020, he took 5 Senior Bowl guys. In 2021, he took 2. In 2022, he took 4. And last year, he took 1, totaling 12 players that he's drafted in the last 4 years as Senior Bowl attendees and players who have gone out there and shown what they can do. And the value of the Senior Bowl comes in those best on best reps, first round picks versus first round picks, and just being able to hone in and stop using the excuse of the little school or the program and really see how do these guys hold up against some of the better players. And they can see that, they can get to meet the players and interact with the players. And the Jets have been even fortunate to coach these players in the last couple of years, which is a great, great benefit to them. And the great part about the Senior Bowl class, and more importantly about the draft class, is that this draft class is loaded, especially when you look at it through the lens of the New York Jets, the positions that we would like to address in the draft and the value that these positions offer in the draft match up insanely well. This is an insanely deep offensive line class, an insanely deep wide receiver class, and the value for the interior defensive linemen, the defensive backs, the linebackers, the defensive side of the ball that we still need to touch up, right? We're not going to just abandon it. Those players that we need to replace on the back end of this football team, where is the value for those positions? In the later parts of the draft. So this draft class was almost built for a New York Jets draft. And so we're going to talk about some of my favorite players at the Senior Bowl, how they impacted their stock and how it might affect the Jets. We're going to have to talk about Taliese Fuaga, who went out there and absolutely dominated and didn't just show that he is the guy that we thought he was, a guy in the run game, a guy who's comfortable moving forward and just moving people. He also showed that he can go backwards and that he can take pass blocking reps with the best of them. I don't think he lost a single one-on-one all weekend against some of the better pass rushers. And it was great because we got to see Laiatu Latu, a lot of people's edges won in this draft class against Taliese Fuaga, one-on-one, best on best. And it really showed up in the reps just how good he is. We've heard and seen the reports that Joe Douglas seems to be a fan of Taliese Fuaga, and so am I. And if you have watched any of the mock drafts that I've done on this channel, you'll know exactly what I mean by that. I have taken Taliese Fuaga, I believe, in every single one of them that I haven't traded back in, even over some of the other offensive tackles, and there's a reason for it. This guy's a dog. But if the Jets decide to not go offensive tackle in the first round, maybe they do decide to trade back or take a wide receiver, this class is loaded in offensive tackles that are going to be available later in the round. Tyler Gaitan, Jordan Morgan, Kingsley Suamatia, Javon Foster, Christian Jones, just so many of these guys who were able to show up and maybe not show out. Maybe they're not the same level as the Taliese Fuaga because they're not, but at least show, you know what? They have the ability and they can play. A guy like Tyler Gaitan did wonders for his draft stock by going to the Senior Bowl. He played so incredibly well that it kind of blew my mind. Patrick Paul out of Houston, another guy who went in, had a rough day one, but turned it around on day 2 and day 3. Really, really raised his stock. Another guy, especially when you look at the interior of the offensive line, Jackson Powers Johnson and Christian Haynes, 2 guys that went out there and showed, you know what? They've got it. They've got the ability to play at the next level. And while a lot of people might not be a big fan of the New York Jets possibly taking a interior offensive lineman, these guys are studs and they have the ability to play day one, and the New York Jets love their flexibility, especially with guys like Isaiah Adams, the interior offensive lineman out of Illinois. He's going to possibly be a day 3 pick, and being able to get a guard on day 3 who can play at a high level is really, really good. And then last but not least, we have to talk about the wide receivers, because the wide receivers came out, showed up, and they were studs. We know that the New York Jets are going to need to address the wide receiver room at some point, whether it's in free agency, whether it's in the draft, whether it's both, which I think is the way that they should go. We're going to be drafting guys, and there were so many guys in this draft class that came out and showed up and played exceptionally well, who are going to be available in the 2nd, in the 3rd, in the 4th round. Guys like Roman Wilson out of Michigan, Jamari Thrash out of Louisville, Ricky Pearsall out of Florida, Jaquan Jackson out of Tulane, and one of my favorite prospects in this upcoming draft, not just because he's a hometown kid because I go to UCF, but yeah, Javon Baker, wide receiver out of UCF, all went out there and showed up and proved, best on best reps against some of the better corners that are going to be available in this draft. They can hang, and I just loved what I saw coming out of the draft. If you haven't been able to watch the one-on-one reps and watch the 11-on-11 reps from the Senior Bowl, please go out and watch them. Even if you don't know what you're watching, even if you don't understand the minutia of, oh, this guy's hands is on the outside, this guy's hands on the inside, ooh, that back leg, ooh, look at his hip, look at his knees. Even if you don't know the minutia of it, go and watch those reps. It only makes you a better fan, and it only makes this draft process a whole lot better for you. Let me know, who are your favorite Senior Bowl guys in the comment section below? Who do you think the New York Jets should target? Let me know in the comments below. And last but not least, go Jets.